Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video on my channel, Hairlicious. If you guys are new, please make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you guys are updated on my second hair transplant journey progress, as well as video topics covering current hair loss treatments. Visit my website at HAIRLICIOUSLY.com to purchase your microneedling device, which is scientifically proven to stimulate hair growth, my low-level laser therapy cap, DHT blocking shampoo and serum, vitamin supplements, and a few other products that can be beneficial for those who are suffering from hair loss. So finally, I was able to upload this video, and I apologize because I've just been so overwhelmed with just everything. First with the whole prostate issue that I've been, going through, just multiple visits to the doctor, also going to appointments for my wife who is going to be expecting our baby in the next few weeks. So, finally I did manage to get some time off to do this video for you guys. And I realized that it's been a long time since I've given you guys an update on my second hair transplant journey progress. Currently, I am at a little over 8 months. It's about 8.5 months. But, the thing is, after your second hair transplant, you kind of forget about all the worries and, the scrutiny of trying to see if you guys actually have growing hairs or not. And if you guys didn't know, I did get 2 hair transplants. The first one was in November 2016. I got about 1,700 grafts implanted into the frontal portion to fill in the receding temples and also to redesign the temporal points. And then fast forward 3 years later, in November of 2019, I went back to the same clinic in South Korea, Motion Clinic. The great staff, great doctors, highly recommended. And I got about a little over 1,800 grafts implanted again into the frontal portion of the hairline. This time I actually got the density reinforced. And as you guys can see, if I just put my hair back, you guys can just see how well the hairline has been established. A lot of the times, after first hair transplant or so, you guys aren't really going to be able to see a very distinct hairline just because the density isn't there. But in my case, you guys can just see how well the hairline is designed. And there's no signs of temporal recessions. There's no miniaturization. And you guys can just see that there is adequate density all throughout the front portion of the hairline. I'm not using any type of hair concealers or anything like that. So this is pretty much my natural hairline. I also did get the temporal points reestablished just because the original one was receded kind of back here. And then I think it stopped somewhere around here. So all of these hairs that you guys see right here have been implanted using the grafts from the back of the donor zone, which is typically resistant to DHT. And that's why the doctors typically use the back of the donor zone hairs to implant into any areas that you guys are balding. So in my case, I pretty much had a total of about 3,500 grafts and implanted into just the frontal portion of the hairline. Obviously I wouldn't recommend somebody who is having a more, severe form of hair loss to get something as aggressive as I did. But in my case, I was on medication, finasteride 1 milligram. I didn't have an aggressive form of hair loss. So I kind of took that chance, and I've been wanting a really nice adolescent hairline, and I was finally able to go ahead and do so. So here are the results at just a little over 8 months. I want to say closer to about 8.5. You guys can see just how well the hairs are established. There are the single grafts implanted into the frontal portion of the hairline. And, as you guys can tell, I did start growing out my hair. And the plan is to grow out the hairs a little bit longer, probably closer to here. And I wanted to try different types of hairstyles. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you guys already know that I do have another form of hair loss, which is retrograde alopecia. Retrograde alopecia is where you guys start thinning on the sides and even parts of the nape. If you guys can take a look on the sides, you guys can kind of see some of the thinning areas, which I've had for, since forever. And that's one of the kind of, classic symptoms of having retrograde alopecia, where you actually have, thinning and, kind of like, I guess, some sort of hair loss on the sides, but the hairs are still there. So in my case, what I do is I typically cut the hairs short on the sides, just so that it can kind of blend in and it doesn't really make, the thinness as noticeable. One thing I did want to mention is that since I did get some of the hair grafts implanted into the temporal points here, you guys can see just how natural the hair is flowing. The one bad thing about having a hair transplant is that since you're extracting the grafts from the back of the scalp, a lot of the grafts from the back of the head are going to be a lot more coarse and thicker than, let's say, the frontal portion of the hairline, which is more softer and they're, thinner in diameter. So when you're extracting the grafts from the back of the scalp, the calibers of the hair follicles and the characteristics are going to be, usually they're going to be a lot thicker. So you can kind of see where my original, the original hairs are versus the ones that are implanted. So you guys can kind of see that the hairs here are a lot thicker than the ones here. So what I always have to do is I always have to cut the hair short, because if I grow it out, it's going to be a little bit, noticeable. But it's not, it's not really, a big of a deal. I'm used to cutting my hair short, and I just like styling the hairs short on the sides. But I did want to show you guys how naturally the hairs are flowing. They're going, against this direction, and they're not pointing, all over the place. So here's how everything looks. Now, some of you guys did want to see the back of the donor zone. I don't know if you guys can kind of see, but let me go ahead and do a quick 180 and see if you guys can see any scars in the back. The hairs are a little bit longer, so I don't know if you guys can kind of see, but if you guys don't know anything about hair transplants or FUEs or anything like that, it's going to be a lot difficult. And if you guys have been watching my prior videos, I did cut my hair really short, probably about 3-4 months ago, where I actually buzz cut it down to using a #1 clipper. And even then, it was kind of really hard and difficult for you guys to really see exactly where the FUE scars were. So pretty much update, I'm still not taking finasteride. Before I was taking 0.5 milligrams of finasteride, but if you guys haven't watched my previous video, I did have some issues pertaining to the prostate, and a lot of you guys were freaking out because some people thought that prostate issues was related to finasteride. Now, finasteride does treat enlarged prostates. That's pretty much what the drug was designed for initially, but they also did find out that finasteride does inhibit the 5-alpha reductase enzyme, which results in testosterone not being able to convert into DHT. And that's why a lot of people who are suffering from hair loss take finasteride or even dutasteride, which is even more potent to stop the progression of male pattern baldness. So in my case, I did stop, and I did have a follow-up with my doctor, my urologist. She did feel the prostate to make sure that everything was okay. She did find that the prostate was inflamed, and so she gave me like 3 different types of medications, which I've been taking for the past 3 weeks. The symptoms have been gotten better, but the thing about prostatitis is that it's kind of hard to treat. It takes months and months of medications and even physical therapy to go ahead and straighten the, they call it the pelvic, the pelvic muscles. A lot of the times it's caused by the dysfunction of the pelvic muscles, surrounding your urethra, your bladder, your prostate, and all that. So it is getting better. I do have another follow-up in about 3 weeks with the doctor, and I am still taking the medications. She did state that I can start taking finasteride. So I've been off finasteride for about a whole month, maybe a little more, just because of the fact that I was under the assumption that I was supposed to be taking the PSA test, which looks at different protein levels in the prostate to look for indications of prostate cancer. So thankfully, I don't have prostate cancer, but I do have prostatitis, which is the non-bacterial type. But I will be resuming finasteride 0.5 milligrams every single day, just so that it can kind of help with, reducing, any type of possible thinness or, male pattern baldness, and also because it does help with enlarged prostates. So that's pretty much the update that I have. As far as, any updates pertaining to hair loss cure, I know that a lot of you guys have been waiting for a video on Dr. Tsuji. And believe me, I've been looking all over online, looking through various forums to see if there's any type of updates. The only thing that I did find was that Dr. Tsuji is going to be having I guess it's kind of like an online lecture through Zoom at one of the universities, where he's going to be talking about, his hair regeneration, multiplication. So, as far as updates, we really haven't heard anything from Organ Technologies or from Rogaine or anything like that. A lot of you guys have been waiting, and I did email Dr. Tsuji a few months back asking for any updates as far as when the human clinical trials results are going to be posted. So at this point, there's nothing new for me to update, and that's why I really haven't posted up any updates for Dr. Tsuji. But hopefully, somebody is going to get access to one of the conferences that he's going to be holding on August 5th. And hopefully that, they're going to be able to provide some more information as far as when we can start expecting results, because, it's almost the end of 2020 and we're actually supposed to get at least some type of information as far as either human clinical trials or when they're actually going to start releasing the possibility of a cure for hair loss. So until I get further news, that's all I have as far as Dr. Tsuji. If you guys have anything else that you guys want me to add, please let me know. But as far as the research that I've done and from information that I've gathered from other people that reach out to me, the August 5th lecture, conference, whatever, the Zoom is the only thing that I have. I'm not sure if we can actually participate. I think some of the graduate students from one of the universities in Japan are able to join in on the conference. And I think some of the people who are actually not part of the school enrollments, or if they're not students, I think you guys can still be a part of the lecture, but I would assume that you would have to speak Japanese to understand it. So if there's anybody that does speak Japanese, let me know, and possibly we can see if we can get you guys enrolled into the conference so that we can get more information. But as far as Dr. Tsuji, that's pretty much it. And this whole pandemic that's been going on, it's not really helping. So there's a lot of delays, not just with Dr. Tsuji, but other types of companies who are looking into stem cell research or different types of treatments for treating hair loss. That's all I have for today, guys. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update on month 8. Also, if you guys have any questions, you guys can send me an email at hairliciously@gmail.com. Also check out the description link. I'm gonna have the information for my clinic, Motion Clinic. You guys can get free consultations. If you reach out to the manager, his name's Kim, you pretty much send them some photos of your current hair loss situation, front portion, the sides, the back, your donor zone, and then he's gonna get you with a quote after speaking with one of the doctors. If you guys are looking into going to Korea, I'm not sure, but I think they still do have some type of restriction, the 14 days due to the whole coronavirus. So you might have to be quarantined for 14 days before you guys are allowed into the country to proceed with the surgery. But I'm not 100% sure, so reach out to Kim and he should be able to answer any questions. But overall, I'm very happy with how the hair has turned out. I don't think that I'm going to be needing any additional hair transplants at this point. I don't foresee myself going to a hair transplant clinic to get another procedure done, because I'm very content. I haven't had any type of further recession, past the areas where I've actually had the grafts implanted. And if I were to kind of, part my scalp, you guys can see that the density in the center is almost as close to the hairline where the grafts are implanted. So that's one good sign, because the density is there, and I'm very happy with how everything has turned out. It's just a matter of time of just scoring it out. And at this point, since I'm almost approaching my 9-month mark, I think I'm pretty much almost done as far as growth. And just overall, I'm very content. And as you guys can see, the results speak for itself. So if you guys are looking into a good hair transplant clinic, make sure to take a look at Motion Clinic, because the results speak for themselves. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Take care.